In business this week, 3 things to know. First, it's a treat on the street. The Dow and S&P hit record highs, thanks in part to a whole lot of sugar poured into the economy by Japan's central bank. Then, the trick from the GOP may be pulling out a win for the Senate. As Election Day approaches, polls show a victory for Republicans is in sight, and what that might mean for big and small business. And is Halloween under attack? Some school districts ban the holiday, and some federal agencies are refusing to give candy to kids. These are scary times indeed. Arise Exchange with our special Open for True Blood fans on Halloween starts now.
When you came in, the air went out.
I'm Andrew Schmertz. I've been told that if the show is good, I'll be allowed to go trick-or-treating and maybe even toilet paper someone's house. So we'll see how it goes. On Wall Street, more treats than tricks for investors Friday. As the markets closed out the week at record highs, this was in part thanks to a whole lot of unexpected stimulus planned by Japan's central bank, which lifted European markets and then cascaded to get the U.S. markets off to a strong start today, and it continued. The economy also delivered some good news as well. So let's take a look at the final numbers. The Dow now up 10% from the October lows just 3 weeks ago. The Dow Jones Industrial Average finishing up nearly 200 points to 17,389.87. That's a record. The S&P 500 to 2017.96, up 23.31. And the NASDAQ up near 14-year highs to 46.30.74. Taking a look at some of the stocks, or taking a look at how the stocks did this week, overall, you could see a strong performance by the Dow, up better than 3 3/4%, 3% for the S&P 500, and 3.64% for the NASDAQ. Quarterly earnings figures out from major energy companies. Exxon saying improvements in refining technology offset lower production levels, pushing earnings figures above consensus estimates. EPS of $1.89 was nearly 20 cents above expectations. Revenue beat analyst forecasts by $2 billion. Chevron reported a 13% rise in quarterly profits. EPS of $2.95 was 14% above estimates. However, revenue of $54.7 billion was below expectations. We will see if those oil numbers hold up next quarter, though, obviously because oil prices are going down. Anheuser-Busch InBev quarterly numbers were a little hard to swallow. EPS for the world's largest brewer came in at $1.42, 8 cents below estimates. Anheuser-Busch also missed on revenues. And taking a look at commodities. Beer is not a commodity? Since when? Gold down 26.60 to 1,172. And oil back 55 cents to 80.57. Consumer spending did falter in September, the first time in 8 months that spending dropped. The Commerce Department reports that spending fell 0.2%, but here's why the number may not be all that significant. Personal income rose, wages up 0.8%, and that is better than expected. And consumer sentiment, according to the Thomson Reuters University of Michigan report, rose to its highest level since July 2007. So what does all that mean? Well, consumer spending is a lagging indicator, while consumer sentiment is a leading indicator. So that's the number you probably want to look at. Despite all that, public opinion says Americans are still down on the economy, and that usually hurts incumbents. In fact, a recent poll shows only 26% of Americans believe the country is going in the right direction, while 70% believe it's on the wrong track. Polls also show Republicans gaining in key races for the Senate, which most now are forecasting that the Senate will flip on Election Day, which is Tuesday. Arise News contributor Eric Ham, who is also a contributor with The Hill newspaper, joins us now from Washington, D.C. Good afternoon, Eric. Where do we stand right now in how people are seeing where this election is going to go on Tuesday?
Well, most experts are actually predicting that the Republicans will take control of the Senate and they will expand their lead in the House. And so I think that's going to bode well, particularly for the business community. If you just look at a couple of races in particular, for example, you look at Kentucky, where you look at 6 months ago, many people thought that this would be the demise of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, where you saw a fresh face in Allison Grimes, who was really taking the fight to the incumbent. But now the DSCC has actually pulled out of the race, which actually suggests that they don't see her winning this race. And also, this will be a huge boon for the coal industry because, as you know, Kentucky is a coal state, and Mitch McConnell is one of the biggest champions of coal in Kentucky. And so that's going to look very well for them. You look at two oil-rich states like Alaska and Louisiana, which are both heavily leaning Republican states, but it doesn't really matter which way the race goes because whoever will be the Senate will be a reliable vote for the oil industry in both of those states.
Yes, sir.
But also, just looking at Georgia as well, where Michelle Nunn, the daughter of former Senator Sam Nunn, she's actually leading. But it's not clear if either she or Mr. Perdue, millionaire businessman, will actually reach the 50% threshold. So we could see a runoff in Georgia in January.
Yeah, and we may not really know who controls the Senate on Tuesday. Okay, so if the Republicans win the Senate, they'll control both the Senate and the House. Obviously, President Obama has 2 more years left. What will the GOP, champion in Congress? And will, in effect, nothing happen for the next 2 years? Or do you think that there's a chance that the president and Congress may have to work together to get some things done and both have an interest in doing so?
Right. And actually, they both have an interest. One, the president will have an interest in trying to get something done because now he's focused more so on his legacy and what he will leave behind after 2 years. And of course, the Senate Republicans definitely want to be seen as being productive because just in the fact that they win the elections and they do take control of the Senate next week, they're going to have more seats to defend in 2016 in both the House and the Senate. And so they want to make sure they have a good showing over these last 2 years. Some of the things that I think we will be looking at are trade proposals. We'll be looking at tax reform. But but the issue will be, can the White House and can Senate Republicans particularly work together? That's going to be the major issue going forward.
Eric Ham in Washington, D.C. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, meet the restaurant owner who was wrongly targeted by the IRS, which seized her bank accounts, and now she wants the money back. You're watching Arise Exchange.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Welcome back to Arise Exchange. As we reported yesterday, the Internal Revenue Service has reportedly been seizing money from the bank accounts of many Americans without any proof of any crime or any charges against them. And it has put some innocent people into bankruptcy and massive debt. What would your government, or why would your government do this? Carol Hinders is the owner of Mrs. Lady's Mexican Food, says she's one of those people whose bank accounts has been seized by the IRS, and she joins us now from Arnold's Park, Iowa. Carol, thank you for stopping by and talking to us about today. It is a very disturbing story. Explain to us exactly what happened. Walk us through why the IRS froze your bank account of about $33,000.
Well, thank you for having me on. And they came to my house, knocked on my door, and informed me that they had closed my bank account and taken all the money out, and that I was accused of a crime called structuring, which is keeping your deposits under $10,000. I was unaware of this, until they came and told me about it, and they said that it was a federal crime.
Did they serve you with a subpoena? Did they serve you with any documents? Did they arrest you?
No.
They just came to your house and said, we're from the government, we're here to help, and we're going to take your money.
Well, they didn't say anything about helping me, but yeah, that's pretty much what they did. They showed me their badges, said they were with the Internal Revenue Service, and that my bank account had been emptied and my account closed.
Okay, now structuring is a real problem. It is a crime, often by drug dealers, because there's a $10,000 limit when it goes into a bank account that the bank has to report. So the question is why were you depositing less than $10,000 in cash, and did you know about this problem?
Well, I had no idea it had anything to do with the IRS, and I kind of was following instructions that my mom had given me years ago to avoid paperwork with the bank. And I don't make, that kind of money per day or per deposit usually. So, yeah, all my deposits were under $10,000.
Okay, so...
and I didn't know. They also said that, I found out later that it's just cash that they're interested in and not checks. I take cash and checks, and my deposits are a combination of those two things.
Okay, now, so Carol, now that they seized your money, I understand you couldn't really afford a lawyer to try to help sort this out. Where do we stand with that?
Well, I did contact a lawyer because the first thing I did was go to my bank to make sure that this had actually happened. Mm-hmm. And it indeed had happened, and the bank was not real forthcoming. They said that the IRS does not really want them to discuss this structuring with their customers. And I said, but they said they had a pamphlet they could give me that would explain it. And I said, well, I'll take one of those. I want to read about it. And they didn't happen to have one on the premises, so they said they would get one from their main bank.
So, Carol, can you get your money back? Have you been cleared of any wrongdoing? And it's your money. If you haven't done anything wrong, why can't you get your money back?
That's a good question, because I really don't have any power. I contacted a lawyer, and he had never heard of this kind of case, happening to a small business like me. And within the week that I came down and talked to him, he'd had 2 cases, mine and another one. So I don't, I'm not sure why I can't get it back, but I'm trying my hardest.
And has the IRS had any additional contact with you?
They interviewed me once to see if this was worth taking to court, and they decided after talking to me that it was. They were going to try to get some more money from me.
They were trying to get some more money from you?
Right. Yep.
And there's no evidence of you not paying taxes or of you doing something criminal?
No. When I contacted my local lawyer, he said that, did I have anything to hide? And I said, no. And he said, well, can you bring me your records? And I said, sure. I brought them down to him. He looked them over, and he said, I don't see anything in here. Usually I don't recommend this. Usually if you're dealing with the IRS, you let them come and ask for what they need. But he said, I have no problem with sending this information to the IRS so they maybe can expedite this whole thing and get it resolved.
And Carol, I understand you had to close your restaurant yesterday. It's probably shocking that this happens in the United States of America, that the government comes in without any evidence at the moment, from what you say.
But let me clarify one thing.
Yes.
The restaurant closing didn't really have anything to do with the IRS seizing my funds. I had put my restaurant up for sale probably 6 months before this seizure happened.
Okay.
So
right.
I just finally sold it. I'm 67, and I was ready to retire. Restaurant work's pretty hard.
Well, this is not the way I think someone should retire.
No,
but we appreciate you coming on, and please stay in touch. We'll stay in touch with you.
All right. Thank you for your interest.
Okay, Carol Hinders. Time now for our business ticker stories making headlines across the nation and the world. Virgin Galactic Spaceship Two crashed during a test flight in the Mojave Desert on Friday after suffering, quote, a serious anomaly. One pilot was killed, the other injured. The exact cause of the crash is unknown. At this time, Virgin Galactic offers space enthusiasts the opportunity, or will offer space enthusiasts the opportunity to travel to outer space for a price tag of $250,000. The spaceflight company is owned by British billionaire Sir Richard Branson. He had hoped to begin flights later in 2015. That is probably delayed. Consumer wallets are getting fatter thanks to plunging gas prices. According to the AAA, the cost of a gallon of regular gas will drop below $3 by the weekend. That's 8.5% lower than it was a year ago. A gallon of gas is now cheaper than a gallon of milk. In an effort to revive the roiling ruble, Russia's central bank hiked its key interest rate from 8 to 9.5% on Friday. The higher-than-expected increase is intended to counterbalance Western sanctions and falling oil prices. Meantime, Russia and Ukraine have reached a $4.6 billion energy deal. Under the agreement, Russia will supply gas to Ukraine until March of 2015. Get this, Black Friday is coming earlier than ever. Walmart, the world's largest retailer, is turning Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, into Black Sabbath on Saturday, November 1st. The retailer would debut price cuts on more than 20,000 products, double the normal move. And the move comes as Amazon plans more deals on November 1st as well. And who says you can't get a bang for your buck these days? The village of Johnsonville, Connecticut sold for $1.9 million in an online auction this week that includes its abandoned post office, church, and 6 other buildings. The village died along with its owner some 20 years ago. The new owners, 2 brothers who helped build the village years ago, plan to revitalize this 62-acre town. In June, the Supreme Court ruled that Aereo, a streaming TV provider, couldn't take live TV for free and stream it on the internet. This put Aereo pretty much out of business, but has helped a company like Magin TV. Magin TV is paying the content providers for their TV programming and in turn is charging its customers for the service. Here to tell us more about how Magin TV works is its chairman, Kamal Barwani. Kamal, welcome to Arise Exchange. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew.
So let's compare this for a moment to Aereo. Aereo was taking over-the-air TV and allowing people to stream it at home. The Supreme Court said that was illegal.
That's right.
How's your service different?
Well, number one, we pay the content providers and we add value back to the content industry. We believe that content providers and owners should get paid for the works that they've provided and invested in. Second, we just don't do free-to-air. Aereo is a very localized free-to-air model. We do free-to-air plus pay TV channels right now in Sweden and in Germany.
So you're debuted in 2 countries right now, Sweden,
That's correct.
Sweden and Germany. What kind of programming are you offering?
We're offering 97 channels in Germany at the very top tier of our service. So that is a very much an exact competitor to a regular pay TV operator locally, which an example of that would be Sky locally in Germany.
You know, we obviously cover a lot of African news, and what is really amazing to Americans is in Africa, for example, more people have mobile devices than television. It's not quite the same in Europe, but I'm wondering if that's a market you're certainly going to be looking at.
Emerging markets are really important to us. If you have broadband and there's a high level of TV consumption, and those are key requirements for us to enter into a market. Now, mobile is just one aspect of it. We also provide smart TV applications, so you can watch on a smart TV or device, or very soon we'll offer a Chromecast solution.
What's amazing is you can really tell how people are interacting with what they're watching, correct?
That's correct.
You know, when they're stopping, when they're watching, if they're watching other devices. So it really is a smart television platform. I imagine this is valuable to advertisers.
Absolutely. We're trying to change the experience of TV watching. We're trying to change the issue of localization. You don't have to be at your home. You don't have to be watching at a certain time when it's on. There's catch-up and rewind functions, and we're trying to personalize the experience.
How much does this scare the cable and satellite companies?
I think
it's a disruptive technology.
The whole experience gets disrupted on the distribution side. It doesn't change the content as much as it changes the distribution mechanism. So the traditional providers are all scrambling to come up with their own competitive solutions.
Because this really allows people to, quote, cut the cord, doesn't it?
That's correct.
And do you find a certain demographic of people who use mobile devices, younger people?
Yeah, usually you watch the term is millennials spend about 34% of their time watching TV on a live mobile device or a small device. My kids never watch TV with me. They watch on their iPad.
You have about 30 seconds left.
Yep.
Where, after Sweden and Germany, are you going next? Because it's not here in the U.S.
We're looking at other parts in Europe, and we're looking at some Latin American countries, and we're keeping an eye on the U.S. as it evolves, as the content breaks in the U.S.
Kamal, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Talk to you soon. Ahead, bling is out at Starbucks, too much cleavage is gone from Google, and one zombie dressed two-timing drunk driver is our favorite person of the day. You're watching Arise Exchange.
The search continues for the more than 200 abducted schoolgirls.
Unquestionably, this is a Nigerian problem.
President Barack Obama stopped short of visiting the border. Why can't Washington get anything done when it comes to immigration reform?
But you got to come up with a solution to it, and no one has a real solution.
Does this further terrorize people, make them more afraid, or is this making people angry? Hello and welcome to Arise America. I'm Debbie Turner-Bell.
Last week on Arise Xchange, the nauseating numbers from two iconic brands and whether they have a plan to turn around their businesses. Existing home sales surged to their best numbers. Can the broader markets support that in the real estate business?
When long-term interest rates are low, it's usually a bad sign for the macro economy.
Toys R Us is defending its decision to sell Breaking Bad action figures. The toys come with a detachable sack of cash and a bag of meth. Not real meth, fake meth. Watch this week for more Arise Xchange. Pull up to the bar. 2 liquid lunches are on tap Friday. First up, Starbucks. Baristas at Starbucks can have tattoos, but don't they dare wear engagement rings. The coffee chain has banned the bling. As part of a new dress code, Starbucks now prohibits employees from wearing engagement rings or any rings with a stone in them. Starbucks blames federal food safety standards, saying the stones from a ring can fall out and into someone's coffee. And a view too personal has gotten Google in trouble. A Canadian court has fined Google $2,000 for embarrassing a woman shown on one of Google's Street View maps. The unnamed woman says the Street View shows too much of her cleavage, causing embarrassment, and that she suffered emotional damage and even depression. The photo has since been removed, though we obviously have it. And that takes us to our favorite person of the day, when we pick one person who grabbed our attention and not for the right reasons. Today, it is an upstate New York woman who managed to get arrested twice on the same day for drunk driving while being dressed up as a zombie. Police say 26-year-old Catherine Butler was driving back from a Halloween party, that's her story, when she was pulled over for driving without her lights on. She was arrested for allegedly driving while intoxicated. Here is her mugshot. Then a couple of hours later, she was arrested again on a drunk driving charge. That leads to the question, honestly, as to why she was let out of jail in the first place. Cops say Butler has a total of 4 DWIs, and for 2 arrests in 2 hours, dressed as a zombie, Catherine Butler is our favorite person of the day. Coming up next, the real scary character this Halloween, government that is ruining it for your kids. It's Friday, so it is 5 o'clock somewhere. You're watching Arise Xchange.
Apple unveiled new products today. Did it meet expectations?
Apple stock is up 20%.
The White House says it has proper measures to contain the spread of Ebola.
This seems to be, in some ways, exploding. What are officials saying?
We remain focused on working with our partners on the ground to stop the epidemic.
Enhanced measures have been put in place in Africa and the United States.
This is hitting home in a very real way, and I think, we need to be concerned.
Hello and welcome to Arise America. I'm Debbie Turner-Bell.
Last week on Arise Xchange, the nauseating numbers from 2 iconic brands and whether they have a plan to turn around their businesses. Existing home sales surged to their best numbers. Can the broader markets support that in the real estate business?
When long-term interest rates are low, it's usually a bad sign for the macro economy.
Toys R Us is defending its decision to sell Breaking Bad action figures. The toys come with a detachable sack of cash and a bag of meth. Not real meth, fake meth. Watch this week for more Arise Xchange. Halloween has always had some controversy attached to it, but it seems this year there is an all-out assault on everything from Halloween costumes to parades to even candy. What's a kid to do? Here are some of the more extreme examples of Halloween bigotry. A school district in Connecticut has outright banned Halloween celebrations, including the annual parade at its elementary schools. Instead, the Newington schools will celebrate, quote, fall activities, whatever that is. A school district near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, has banned Halloween candy at the school's Halloween party. Officials voiced concern that some kids may have allergies to some of the candy. And in Washington, D.C., the Veterans Administration will not serve candy at its Halloween party for children of employees. in order to comply with a request from First Lady Michelle Obama, who is urging kids to eat healthier. They can eat healthier the rest of the year. And there's another one, by the way. In Hollywood, there's now a $1,000 fine if you use silly string. John Lieberman, investigative reporter and the host of his own show on Sirius XM Radio, is here with more on Halloween. John, is there a war on Halloween this year?
I was going to offer you a candy here, but they told me that this isn't allowed.
We're going to have to
put that away, guys. Put that away.
You would be strip searched and thrown out of here.
Look, Andrew, there is a war on Halloween because it's become not about fun, but about fear. Everybody's worried about what could happen in the schools. Everybody's worried about what candy could do to them. And at the end of the day, yes, there is a war on Halloween.
You know, and to be fair, kids are overweight in this country.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're not overweight because of one day of the year. And kids get bullied at school, but they're not bullied at school because of Halloween.
Well, that's right. Look, the health industry needs a target all the time. So they had trans fat. They went after the trans fat industry. Here in New York, they went after sugary drinks. Now they're going after candy. But what the candy industry has done well, Andrew, is they have framed it as candy isn't a lifestyle. Candy makes up 2% of your calories in a day on average for an American. So you can have a piece of candy and it doesn't turn into a lifestyle. So the industry's done a good job in framing it.
Yeah, they've done a very good job of framing it. And the fact is that there's a whole bunch of things that are bad for you out there. And we pick and choose because candy is an easy target.
Well, that's right. I mean, what else are we going to ban? I mean, walking across the street can be bad for you. So are we going to ban walking? You know, so that is the thing. But look, the candy industry, as you well know, isn't going anywhere. $34 billion in sales this year in the U.S. alone, $2.5 billion just for Halloween. So, I mean, the industry's not going anywhere.
Because you know what? Adults like chocolate, too.
That's right.
All right, but there's also this issue of kids dressing up in costumes and you know, banning people like who dressing up as the Ebola virus or as ISIS or some of the more extreme costumes. But there's a First Amendment issue here as well. And there's a lesson that should be taught by parents and not the schools.
Right, absolutely. I think it should be up to parents. If you want to dress your kid in an Ebola costume or as an ISIS terrorist, then parents should have that choice. Now, I am for schools being because they think there's a safety issue there. For example, if they think a child might put a gun, if they think a child might put a gun in a baggy costume or something like that.
An elementary school kid is not bringing a real gun, at least.
I know. So I argue that, yes, it should be up to the parents, and hopefully the parents can act with enough discretion to not dress their kid up like a terrorist.
There is a huge backlash against the school board in this Connecticut town, for example. And fortunately, the parents will elect the school board and maybe say to do something different. Why do you think we've come to this point now where Halloween and people dressing up is sort of being looked upon in this way?
Well, I think school safety is some of it. I mean, I think they hide behind that.
And we're going to be extra fair here. Connecticut has a real concern.
Oh, absolutely. After Sandy Hook, I mean, so everybody is litigious. So I think the school systems are afraid of potential lawsuits. Let's say a kid does eat something that, you know, has peanuts in it and their face blows up from a peanut allergy and they had a note in their file that said they're allergic to peanuts. So everybody's worried about lawsuits. But I do think we have gone way too far, and there's just no such thing as fun anymore.
And you have to remember also that, you know, you could say, well, the parents could take the kids trick-or-treating, but unfortunately for too many kids, the school is really their social environment. They don't have the parents at home who could take them out, and they count on this.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, for many children, especially low-income children, might not have parents at home who want to take them out trick-or-treating. You know, school is their place to celebrate these types of holidays. There is that argument that Halloween in the past at one point was a religious observance, but that doesn't...
Yeah, I mean, there's been concern it's a pagan holiday or it's the devil holiday, but it's not. It's not anymore.
Right. No, it's a day to dress up, have fun, and eat some candy, just not too much candy.
Not too much candy. Where do you think the backlash is going to result that we won't have this conversation next year?
No, we'll definitely have this conversation. I think more school districts will ban it. The First Lady is so on this anti-obesity bandwagon, and candy is in her crosshairs now.
Good for her to be pushing the issue, but I think it hurts the overall message on a day like today, when you're basically beating up poor kids. Come on.
Absolutely. You can preach good eating. It doesn't mean a piece of chocolate's going to put you over the edge.
John Lieberman, thank you so much.
Good to
this
see
was
you,
fun.
Andrew.
Talk to you soon. Next week on Arise Exchange, we will have more on the midterm elections as voters head to the polls. Let's take a look at how the markets did once again for the week. The Dow up better than 3 3/4%. That's a record. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ also turning things around nicely from the October lows. Finally, we'd like to wish Rise News Director of U.S. Programming, Eugenia Harvey, a speedy recovery where she is resting up in Atlanta. I'm Andrew Schmertz. Thanks for Halloween. Safe trick-or-treating.